Hey guys, how's it going? It is Kara here with another Guardian Tales video, and in today's video I want to break down the 4 heroes that are on this banner. We still have a little under 10 days remaining here on this banner to choose if you're going to be pulling for one of these 4 heroes here. So I like to break this down every time that there's a new rotation of heroes here, especially when there's a brand new hero added to the mix, to kind of go over if this character is worth pulling for, if there's any other heroes on the banner worth pulling for on this banner. Before we get in this video, if we can get a like on this video, that'd be awesome. Also subscribe to the channel for more Guardian Tales content. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So the way I look at determining if a character is worth pulling for, because for me, I have always pulled these characters when they've come out. So a lot of this is kind of putting myself in the position of someone that is either just starting out, maybe missed a really good character off the first rotation, they got unlucky and they're free to play and didn't pull them. Also, I like to look at these characters from the perspective of how good they are in Arena, Coliseum, and Rating. Obviously, I'm going to like the characters more if they're really good in multiple areas. If they're great in Arena and Coliseum, they're good. And then if they're good in Arena, Coliseum, and Rating, then that's amazing. And then especially if they're like, you know, top of the class there, then those are pretty much must pulls. Currently, when we got these characters here, the only one that really stands out to me that's ever been a must pull is MK99, because she's great in Arena on specific maps. Usually you want to build a team around her. She's great in Coliseum. If there was a time where she's probably easily one of the best characters in Coliseum. I think there's been a lot of, you know, especially with Mono Earth, and then you have the basic team with Sohi. She's not nearly as dominant as she once was, but she's still very good. And then she's a staple in the late team for Rating, and the late team has been fantastic in there. So I think out of all these characters, she's probably the best. When it comes to pulling these older characters, out of any of these, this is the one I would recommend. So let's look at what people are currently using in the meta for those specific game modes. Right now, if we look at Arena, the first thing we should always look at is the map. This is a pretty small map, so you're probably not going to see many ranged teams being used currently in the meta. And as you can see, all of this is very melee or kind of get in your face style, tanky, bruiser, high damage melee characters are the meta for sure. Like Arena makes sense. Lilith and, you know, Future Princess there, that's a really tanky but also high damage team. Yeah, and then it makes sense that Mayreal, she's relatively tanky for one of these characters. If she can kite out and then get the double chain skill off, she's probably going to delete someone, so kind of makes sense that she's being used in something like this out of any range character. Also, she's a crit rate up for your team versus like an actual 50% melee boost, because you're also not even seeing really that much Camille too up here, but I think down here, you know, you're getting full Mono Earth, but mostly it's bruiser characters, because even Camille is not going to be able to beat these kind of teams in this situation when the map is so small. So not seeing any MK99, and that's to be expected. I don't think that's a bad thing. These kind of characters are just going to do way better on this this map, especially with Arena coming out, you know, just being such a good counter to light characters as well. If we were kind of having to still rely on like Ogma or something as a tank, maybe we might see a little bit more of that. And then we go to Coliseum, seen a lot of Mono Earth, still see the light team, but this team is the tankier version of it with the healing. But let's see if we see that much MK99. It seems like there's a pretty big drop off. We used to see a whole bunch more, but Mono Earth is really starting to dominate. And these kind of like Camille teams with a lot of supports. I'm a big fan of this team. This is a team I'm using. I like it a lot. But MK99 is still up here. And if you're in the position where, and if you're just starting out, I mean, you're probably not pushing for these top spots anyway. I just like to see what's the best, you know, so you at least have a gauge on what characters are going to be good. At the end of the day, the thing that actually matters is maxing your heroes, and then we can split hairs on all day on how good these characters are, but for the most part, if you're just starting out, you really want to just max your heroes first, and then we can start talking about perfect team composition. but you still want to at least kind of get to the point where you're picking good heroes. So, you know, I don't want to get too caught up on, oh, is this the perfect top tier meta character? But at the same time, I don't want to just completely ignore the fact that, you know, the character quality does matter at the end of the day. I would say that's just a good kind of overview so far when it comes to the meta right now. And two, if you're getting these characters, unless you're immediately planning on keeping them in the training room for a while, actually farming them up is going to take a while. So you always kind of want to be thinking ahead on how is this going to scale into the future. And when I look at, if I looked at these four, just in general, these four heroes, I would say the highest value character I think is MK99. Then I would probably go with these three almost being roughly equal in value, because none of them get used in Coliseum. I could see some niche case scenario them being used in Arena, and then I see all of them being used in raiding. But the one that probably doesn't get them that much use would be Clara in a fire team, even though she has the generic 50% range buff. But a ranged fire team, I don't know if it's worth justifying going for her for raiding purposes, especially when most of the fire team, there's already a good fire team that's meta as a melee team. And a lot of times Lucy gets splashed in other teams. So is it going to be worth justify breaking her up on like a basic team, for example, to then go all in on a fire team? I would say this is a solid hero, but if you already have like a fuller team or you already have a light team, it's hard to justify pulling for this hero and investing in him, because she's going to be very niche. She's probably just going to be a raid character for you. She's fun. I mean, I'm definitely been playing her, put her in the training room, had some fun in Arena so far, but as a value pick, I would say she's like a mid-tier value in my opinion. But that's just in general when it comes to this. Like at this point in the game, especially with how long Veronica's been out, and then with the faith system being canceled, it's hard to justify pulling for her in my opinion. If you haven't got her by now, it's hard to justify it unless she's like the last piece you were looking for on like on like a water team, or you're trying to splash her in and you needed her for like a light team in raiding or something like that. But it's really hard to justify. Same with Lucy. It would be hard to justify pulling for a character now when we have all this potential and what the future holds. I feel like having the delayed draft picks here is going to be the way better value than picking this character now. This is almost like a weak draft class or something like that, and we want to wait for better prospects in the future. And I think that's probably going to be the best value for most people, with the exception of MK99. I could totally see. I mean, if you really want to, you have other light characters and you're just missing this piece. I think MK99 is a great character. I've gotten a ton of use out of her, so that would be the one I would pick. But there's so many factors that are impossible to say, based on when you played, when you started playing, which exclusive weapons you happen to pull on your journey to this point, stuff like that. But just in general, that's just kind of my take on where I see these characters at in the game, where I see the direction of the game going. That's pretty much going to be it when it comes to this video. I'm curious to what you guys have to say down in the comments below, where you rank these characters. If you decided to pull for the new hero, are you happy with that decision? Stuff like that. Like I'd love to hear the discussion, because there's a lot of smart people in this game, and so just the more discussion, the better. And with that, guys, I am out. Peace.